All right, so you're in real estate school, or you just got out, or maybe you picked your brokerage and you don't really know. But now you're wondering, how do you know what brokerage will help and not hinder your career in real estate and help you grow the fastest? Because picking the wrong brokerage can hold things up if you're not on the track, if you're not being placed in a position to be successful at what you want to do and how you want to do it. So picking a brokerage is a very important thing, and I just want to go over a few things that you should consider that I wish that I knew when I picked a brokerage for the first time. All right, so let's just be honest with ourselves. The main reason that anyone gets in real estate or anyone gets in any field, or like anyone does a job, period, is about the money. So let's discuss what the different types of splits are in real estate that different brokerages offer depending on what their model is. So there's a few different types of split. The split is basically how much you make of your actual commission. Um, Most brokerages are commission only. If you have a brokerage that's a salary, I'm one that has to be a unicorn. Two, I'm not sure if I would want a salary in real estate because you probably wouldn't make as much as you can on a commission job unless they just have an extremely high number of salary and you don't like to sell a lot. But so you want to know about the splits. There's a few different types that different brokerages offer. Let's go with first the old school route, the which is they take a percentage. Um, the bigger the brokerage, usually the more percentage they take starting off. So, for example, as an agent, you make 3%. Typically, as the buyer's agent, 3% of the purchase price of the home. If you're the listing, you can kind of set what you make as a listing agent, but on the listing side, you normally make around 3 to 4%, I would say. If you are a person who can make 5 on a listing and still pay the buyer's agent 3, you're listing at 8%, then like you a really good job at that. But most agents list houses at 6 or 7%. So, and of course, you have to give the buyer's agent 3% if you're on the listing side. So the buyer agent normally makes 3%, and the listing agent normally makes 3 or 4. So of that percentage, you make a percent of that percentage. So let's just say for easy math, we'll do a 100K house. And 3% of that is a $3,000. That would be the commission on that house. With a traditional brokerage, they have a split percentage. Most of them start at a 70/30, meaning uh, uh, you make a split of 70%, they make a split of 30%. So on a house that is $100,000, the total amount of commission is 3,000. You make your split of 70,000, which is, hold on, I'm gonna do the math on this real quick because I want to get it right. Which means of $3,000, you would take home $2,100. The brokerage would take home their split of 30% of $900. So that is your traditional split range. Now, normally with brokerages who offer a split, they offer tiers in which you can work up and make more of that yourself, which you can normally start off at one split range and work your way up and work your way up and work your way up. The brokerage I'm currently at, I started off at that, and right now I've worked my way up to 85, a 15, and I should be at a 90/10 pretty soon, which means that I would keep at 90%. And but it takes time to work your way up. It's about your sales numbers usually. Um, so so What's the alternative route to that? There's what I like to call the new school model, the newer brokerages. Usually they're smaller. They've only been around for a little while, and by a little while I don't mean like a few months. I mean like 5, 8 years or so. Most of the older brokerages who have been around since like the early '90s, the '80s, and everything do the split model. The other one is the flat rate brokerages, where they charge you a flat rate per transaction. Usually it's like $500 or $250 a transaction, and they also have a monthly fee on top of that as well. But so of $3,000, you would pay a flat rate no matter how much your sale is, which would let's just give an example of the flat rate being $500, which means of 3,000 you would make $2,500 instead of uh, the percentage of 2,100. A thing to be mindful of. The percentage, when you're working with a percentage, the more you make, the more you pay in to the brokerage. So while you're paying in $900 on a house that costs $100,000, on a house that costs $200,000, you're paying $1,800, and so on and so forth. While with a flat rate brokerage on a house that costs 100,000, you're paying 500. On a house that costs 200,000, you're paying 500 as well. So so there's benefits of having the flat rate model, because the more you make, the amount you have to pay out doesn't increase, so you're pocketing more of a percentage of what you're making. With the split model, the percentage model, the more you make, the more you're paying out into the brokerage, as well as the more you're pocketing. But it will stay consistent at that percentage of what it is, until you build up in tiers. Now, so I know right there it sounds like, well, if that's the case, I'm going every time for a flat rate brokerage. But there's other things you have to consider when picking your brokerage as well that may make a percentage or the flat rate brokerage best for you. But in the meantime, let's discuss other things that are possibly included in your split for both models. One, most brokerage have monthly fees. These monthly fees, they normally will cover the technology fee, the office fee, like if they have an office, and things like that. Just behind the scenes things that need to go on in order to allow you to be the agent that you are, because brokerages, they do have a responsibility on their side as well. Most of them will keep your files. They have a system, a secretary or something who holds all your files, because you are required by law to hold your files for a certain amount of time, depending on how depending on what state you're in. But you do want to whoa but you do want to know what the brokerage offers as well. But we'll get into that a little bit later. So the next thing besides the split, now that we've talked about money, what else do you want to consider? What's important? I feel like this is more important than what your split is when you're starting off, and that's your training. So you just got out of real estate school. I will be 110% honest with you. You do not know what it takes to be a realtor just getting out of real estate school. Real estate school teaches you laws and facts that are needed to basically do your job ethically, but it doesn't teach you how to be good at being a realtor. A lot of being a realtor is one, prospecting and generating leads. That's the biggest thing, because without leads, without prospecting, you can't make money. The other thing is managing your clients and knowing how to have those hard conversations with them, and knowing your contracts and knowing the ins and outs and how to navigate through things when things get messy, because things will get messy. It may not on your first, your second, third, or fifth deal, but but you will come across those deals that make you say, why in the world did I pick this field? And the more you know, the easier it is to navigate that for and turn that into a positive for your client. Um, and training plays a big part of that. You want to get to a brokerage who offers you either a training program, as far as like they have classes, or they have a mentorship program, or something that allows you to grow your knowledge of what's going on without experiencing it first. The first uh, the first like time you learn about how going to court and fighting over like earnest money goes, you don't want that to be when you're going through it. You want to already have that knowledge of what's going on beforehand, so that when you experience it, you know how to navigate it, and you can pass that on to your client and allow them to feel comfortable in what they have to do as well, and feel confident in you. So you want to get to a brokerage who has a good training program. I feel like that's more important than having the split, because if you get trained correctly and know what you're doing quicker, then you can make more money quicker in the long run. So you may take a loss on your first a few deals, but you'll know how to prospect better. You'll know how to get more leads. You'll know how to bring in clients and maintain clients. You'll know the lenders to get them to and everything. And having that network, having that knowledge will help you make more money, even if you're paying out more to start off with. And even if you just are with a brokerage who has a training program for a year or two, that year or two is very valuable. Then switch to a brokerage who gives you a better split or whatever it is, and doesn't have a training program. Another thing that is very important, especially when you're new, is the brokerage you pick, their brand and exposure. So when you first start off, most of your clients will come from people you know. It will come from your inner circle. That's who is going to trust you 9 times out of 10. Your first 3 to 5 or however many sales will come from people you have known for some period of time. And during that period of time they have known you, you have not been a realtor. So in some way you have to let them know that they can trust you and that you know what you're doing. Easiest way to do that is to have a brand that they recognize as being quality. Let's relate this back to car insurance. When you think of car insurance, and if you have a friend who's a real estate agent, and I said a real estate agent. If you have a friend who's an insurance agent, and you're looking to buy insurance, and they come and say, "Hey, I'll do your insurance. I work for Home Style Insurance." You've never heard of them. Go and Google them. They only have one location, and you're like, what in the world do I really want to how to trust my insurance to a place that I've never heard of, a person that I know hasn't been doing this that long. And even if I love them, they're my friend, their family, whoever, but at the end of the day, it's a business decision. Do I want to trust my insurance to a person who isn't experienced at a place I've never heard of, But if that same person comes to you and they say, "Hey, I'm doing insurance, I'm new, I work for Nationwide or State Farm or Geico," national brands or big brands that most people know of, instantly it gives them a bit of credibility in your mind. And you say, "Hey, okay, they're with some, they must be good," So then it gives you a little bit of credibility. Now, when I say exposure and presence is very big, that doesn't mean they have to have national exposure, because real estate is a local game. You could have a company who's only in your city, but they're very well known. They're very big in your city. They do a lot of transactions in your city. And you can also have a company who is national, who doesn't do anything in your city and no one cares about them. So you want to know what they are locally and how they're viewed locally, because at the end of the day, when you're first starting off, that name that you attach your name to is what gives your name the credibility until you're able to build a track record and everything. Another thing that you want to consider is the work processes and systems. So as you learn in real estate, it's kind of easy to manage everything up front when you're first starting off. You won't have a lot of clients, you won't have a lot going on, but as you get busier, it's good to have things in place that will help make your job easier. Those things I recommend are: one, a way to get leads to help you get busy. You want a place who, in some way, will give you leads. Most of brokerages don't give you leads. They're just being honest. And if they do give you leads, they take a good portion of what the percentage is that you get. So, but as a new agent, a sale is a sale, money is money. You need to put money in your pocket. So while a lot of brokerages do have programs like OpCity, they normally take a good amount of that at that as well. But you do want a way to get leads, even if it's just a website page or something like that. You want a way to get leads. You want a CRM. Your brokerage may or may not offer this. If they do offer it, that's an added expense you don't have to pay. And having a CRM, which is how you manage your clients, and it really puts you on track to stay on track. I'll do a whole video on just why you need a CRM and the one that I use later, but CRMs are very important. You want a way to DocuSign, to digitally sign contracts and documents. We're in a new day and age to where your clients are probably not going to come to your office to sign an offer every time you place an offer for them. You're not going to have an offer at the house. Every house you show have an offer right there. You'll go out, you'll show a house or show 3 or 4 houses at one time. They'll pick the one they like. You'll write an offer later on that day. They need to be able to sign it, and you driving out to them or them driving to you just is not convenient. It is not the best way to do things. So what do? You DocuSign, you digitally sign. It's great if a brokerage offers you this software, if they can give that to you so that you don't have to pay it, because that's an added cost and you want to keep your costs down. That way you're able to spend your money on things like marketing. So, and marketing tools, as we talk about marketing, and marketing tools is another thing. Does the brokerage offer you ways to market? Now, this may be costly. They may charge you for it, but do they offer you an easy way to send out flyers, to send out reminder cards, or send out magnets, or do this or do that? Do they have those opportunities in there for you so that you can easily market to your base or whoever you're trying to do that with? Is that a resource that they offer? Now, another thing, this is a thing that has really helped me that I feel like everyone needs to experience, especially if you're in your first like a 3 to 5 years of real estate, which is office space. Does your brokerage actually offer an office that you can go in? Nowadays, we have a lot of digital brokerages that are popping up out of where they don't actually have an office space in your city. They're located however many miles away, but they can hold your license still. I work at a brokerage to where we have 10 or 11 offices around the city, and where I was able to earn a personal office, which is where I am now, not a cubicle, a personal office. So, and that has helped me tremendously. Because one, just being at the office, having a dedicated space that you can work at and work from and get out of your house, it gives you a lot more motivation to do more work. 2, it shows that you are a serious realtor, because now you can have a space to bring your clients to do your buyer consultations or your listing presentations or whatever it is. You have a space to bring them into that says, hey, I am credible. I have a credible office, a credible business, and I know what I'm doing. This big multi-million-dollar office here shows it. and it gives them that experience. It gives them that comfortability. And also, the biggest thing is when you have an office to go into, you're not the only agent there. You're going to have other agents who are going in that same office and they're doing work, and you're able to overhear phone calls, have conversations at the copier, have conversations at the printer, and learn from other agents of what they do in order to grow their business, how they got where they are, what mistakes are they going through right now. What difficulties are they in right now? How are they navigating that? And it just helps build your wealth of knowledge in your head, because the more you know in real estate, the better you are. It's sad to say, but knowledge is key in real estate. And when things get messy, the realtor who knows the most is usually the one who controls that outcome. And lastly, is this lastly? I guess this is almost a lastly. Lastly is a specialization. So you want to make sure that you pick a brokerage who specializes or allows you to specialize in the kind of real estate you want to do. Let's be honest, there are different kinds of real estate. There's rentals, there's property management, commercial and residential, as well as other niches as well. And you want to be sure that you go into a real estate firm, a real estate company who, one, allows you to do what you want to do, and two, who you can grow and learn what you are trying to specialize in yourself. As a realtor, you may plan on doing everything, but you're going to quickly learn that one thing is your niche. You know, one thing I'm a lot better at this, or I love doing this, or I get a lot more business doing this. And you want to be able to do that and learn from your brokerage. And I'm going to go back a little bit, because I should have mentioned this earlier when I talked about exposure and presence, or training actually, which is how accessible is your broker. You want to be able to get to your broker and speak with them on a daily basis when you need to. One, because your broker is who answers for everything you do. So if you're wondering if you're doing a thing wrong, or if you should do a thing this way or that way, it's best to ask your broker. Because if it goes bad, the broker has to answer for you. And if you didn't let them know what's going on, they're probably going to throw you under the bus, and say, hey, I didn't know anything about that, because they didn't, So you want to be sure that you keep them in the loop on what's going on. And your broker is your most valuable training resource. You can call your broker up anytime and ask them anything, and they're going to be 110% honest with you, because they want you to succeed, because it helps them succeed. They want you to do best. They're literally there to make sure that you're doing things how they should be done and the best way to do them. So you want to be able to call your broker. Now, a piggy on back to a specialization. Yeah, you want to go to a place that can allow you to do what you want to do. Lastly is your freedom. You want to have freedom. At the end of the day, you're an independent contractor, and you want to be able to market yourself and to bring in the clients who are going to get you paid. Just being honest. You don't want to be stuck in doing everything a way that does not appeal to your base of who your clients are going to be. For example, if you're a person who go to a brokerage and they're very strict, they're very corporate. You have to wear a suit every day. You have to do this, but you know that the place that you're going to market the clients you want to get are farmland clients, and you're not allowed to go to appointments wearing jeans and boots or things that appeal to your clients, and you have to show up to farms to go walk the land and everything in a suit. You don't want to have to do that. You don't want to get in trouble for relating to your base or for being who you are. You want to go to a brokerage who allows you the room to be who you are and allow you to market how you want to market, because at the end of the day, if you can be yourself, that's when you can be the most successful, because people are able to see when you're being you and when you're putting on whatever the front is you're putting on. So picking a brokerage is one of your biggest decisions. It can set the catapult of how fast you grow in real estate or how stagnant you stay at the start. Your broker is one of the biggest influences on your career. You want to have a broker who is willing to help you grow and help you move on about your career and reach new levels in a timely manner when you're ready to reach those new levels. You don't want to be held back. You don't want to feel stuck. You want to feel empowered, and you want to feel like you made a good decision from the get-go. You want to be able to attain knowledge as much as you can, and you want to be able to make money. My recommendation, of course, you take this with how your personal situation is. I would sacrifice a little bit of money up front in order to obtain the training, the office, the everything else. That's what I ended up doing, and I feel like it played out very well. And even though at some points I thought, hey, I got to get out of here. I know enough. I want to do this. Once I started to move up in the rankings as far as the splits, I realized, hey, I can make what I want to make here and keep my office and all the resources of everything that it is. So that's my opinion on how to pick a brokerage, the things that you need to know. And you want to make sure that when you pick a brokerage, you are interviewing them at the same time they are interviewing you, because you're an independent contractor. You're paying them to be there. They are not paying you. All right, I'm Preston Williams, and those are my tips on how you should pick a broker the first time that you are picking your brokerage. I'm out.